Dave Chappelle released a stand-up clip on Instagram where he told several stories of people taking things from him that he believed was rightfully his. One story involved the first contract he signed with Comedy Central, which eventually gave Viacom permission to license Chappelle's show to Netflix and HBO without paying him any royalties. Because Netflix and Dave have a working relationship, Netflix took the show off their platform. Chappelle then asked everyone not to stream Chappelle's show because he wasn't getting anything from it. Stories of intellectual property being taken from artists is one that's as old as show business itself. We saw it earlier this year when it was discovered that Nick Cannon didn't own Wild 'N Out, and we saw it nearly 2 decades ago when the Scary Movie franchise was taken away from the Wayans brothers. Today on the show, we've got our own comedy hype analyst, Pierre, to talk about why Hollywood is able to steal from artists. Now, I guess I should call you the great Pierre. Pierre, I know you've watched Unforgiven by Chappelle. What was your first reaction after watching it?
Someone like Dave could only pull this off. He's unfortunately in a dubious position of trying to get it's happened. He's trying to go back before it started. And unfortunately, that's a very hard place to get, to be. So for him to even try to pull this off is just kudos to him. And I think he's someone who could pull it off by making a change after you've done something. Very seldom do people change after you've done. If you get into a deal a certain way, they expect you to ride through it that way, regardless.
Absolutely. Well, Pierre, let me ask you this question. So when it comes to network deals, is ownership typically a part of those deals? Because I know we've seen, like I said, Nick Cannon, we have the Wayans brothers, and now we have Chappelle speaking out against, we think that they have, because their name is on it, we're thinking they have their ownership. Is that typically a part of the deal, or how does that work?
No, very, very rarely. If you don't have enough pull of power, they don't. You don't have it. Very few people have it. Now, look, we're in a different time now, which is great. A lot of these stuff you're talking about was 10 years ago and back when power of social media, you didn't blow up before you had a deal. So now people can get more power and have a little more leverage because they have a proven fan base that people can see by social media. But before that, they didn't. When Chappelle got into that deal with Comedy Central, he was a pretty decent name, had a name, but not a name strong enough to say, I want to own this show afterwards. Obviously, it didn't happen. He didn't go there. I'm quite sure, if he could have done it, he would have done it. But the problem I have with show business is a lot of times they feel like you aren't worth the big picture, meaning they feel like they're putting everything up. Well, you using my talent. My talent is valuable. My talent is very valuable. Without my talent, you wouldn't put the show wouldn't be successful. It's not just the promotion and you put the cameras and crew, but you have to give me more. What they think of out of $1, you're worth 10 cents. They're worth 90 cents. And that's what the problem is when it's the talent, which is very valuable. And so I think, which Dave's talking about, he should be compensated like almost a 50-50 situation. And you're not going to disrespect my talent by just saying, here, we'll give you penance because we're putting you on air. We're doing something for you. So we're going to be a little bit, but you're using my talent, what I have honed and worked for years. And let me tell you, you're putting this amount of money into my thing, but if it blows up, you're making more money. So my talent has gotten you larger than what you had. So why not receiving more money than that? You know what I'm saying? So they always feel like you're lucky to have us, behind you and promoting, putting money up. But now it's a different time because now we have social media and people we know who our fans are. We know we got 10 million fans, 20 million fans. So now hopefully it doesn't happen again. So for him trying to go back, that's a little rough, but I appreciate and I respect what he's doing because he's saying, you know what? You got me back then, but moving forward from this day on, I have a fan base and he has a true fan base who will support his movement.
And here's the thing too, this isn't the first time that we've seen Chappelle speak out against his contract. Back when DVDs were starting to emerge, he didn't have any, of course, we didn't know DVDs were gonna come out. I'm sure he didn't know. But once he started seeing the revenue that was coming in, he pushed to renegotiate his contract. And in 2005, when Chappelle was sued by his manager, it was revealed that, because of that renegotiating that he pushed so hard for, he was able to receive 50% of that out of that renegotiation deal. So, it shows that Chappelle has a record of fighting for what he believes is his, but it's crazy to think like this all comes from one contract that he signed, as he mentioned, when he was basically a kid.
Well, unfortunately, people don't realize the word business has more letters than the word show. I'm telling you, a lot of times we feel like because we see you out front, you own everything. You're the boss of everything. That's not to be true. It's just not. It's just somebody putting you on the shelf and to shine. But the machine behind is the one that owns and controls it. That's why people say you're puppets at times. And sometimes you feel like you're a puppet. You know, I unfortunately was lucky enough to say no to a lot of things. Maybe I shouldn't have said no, but I didn't feel right going into certain deals. I'm like, no, this don't feel right. And I said no. Maybe I'll be larger. Now remember now, the platform he got on, Dave Chappelle got on, which was Comedy Central, helped him become the big Dave Chappelle who he is now. Without that, he may not be as huge as he is now. Let's be honest. So they did give him an opportunity. He just feels like, y'all gave me an opportunity, but I gave you talent. And I think I should be compensated in a better way than you have. And I agree with it. I agree with him, you know. So I'm down for it. I'm not going to watch the Chappelle show again until he tells me he's gotten paid. Point blank. That's what's going to happen to me. So, and I applaud any person that can do that and have the people. And I think the people are making their voices heard through him by not supporting. That's why they pulled it down. They don't want to have a bad situation with Netflix, and people start pulling Netflix dollars and saying, I'm canceling my subscription to Netflix. So Dave has that situation, and I think he deservedly he shouldn't be having a little bit of money from all he did. And I don't care if someone says, well, he signed that deal. Yeah, but sometimes, you know, look at the guy who's hungry and broke. I get that, you know, but taking advantage of somebody is okay because you can. You're ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So I hope, you know, but unfortunately, it's a business. Like he said, it's a monster. He jumped.
Right. And I that's what I appreciated too. Like he acknowledged, you know, in Unforgiven, it's business, yeah, but it's not right. You know, when you look back, here we are 20 plus years later, and it's still an issue. It's still something that, you know, he's having to deal with and fight for. And it's just crazy to think like now he has to, like you said, he has to go to his real boss, which is the people.
But you said it's not right. Is it right for a Big Mac to cost 10 cents to make, but you pay $2 for it? Is that right? But if you want to buy it for $2, then that's what it is. And just because it costs 10 cents to make a Big Mac don't mean it's wrong. They charge $1.90 profit. You know what I'm saying? $1.90 more for it. It's what business you want to get into. But I think now it's a different time. Remember, a lot of those deals, shady deals were made years ago. A lot of kids now are coming up off of social media. They're making a lot of money. Now when people come to them, a Comedy Central, HBO, they got to come to them in a better situation because they're like, hey, these young cats saying, I got 2 million followers, 10 million followers, 20 million followers. So
Right.
now the artists are starting to have a little more control. So we're talking about something that happened a while back. You know,
Right.
It's not going to be like that moving forward. We need to fight for what we feel like is right and what's fair. And now he, unfortunately, has to do his position of trying to go backwards to fix something. And I hope it works for him. And I hope more people can do that. So if he is successful, then maybe other artists can go back and say, hey, man, you all still making money on me ridiculously. Why don't you compensate me better than you have? And maybe it might come through. So Dave Chappelle is putting himself out there for all of us to hopefully, who are done wrong in the back, well, not done wrong, but we're, let's say, taking advantage of. That's the word I'm going to use more. Not wrong, but taking advantage of, you know, when you shouldn't have, you know. So I hope he wins it.
And we've seen over time, you know, now we've transitioned into streaming. So, you know, I feel like, you know, not only is ownership in, you know, projects, but now we have streaming. You have people that are stepping into ownership of that. And I think it's plain to see, but just wanted to get your thoughts. How important is ownership, you know, as we transition in this business?
Very, because you got to understand, you got to live past the time you're shining. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about the 2 or 3 years or 5 years you're shining. It's the future. When you get 60, 70 years old, you still want money coming in, you know, for when you're older, when you're not hot no more, when you're not the man no more or the woman no more. You want money coming in. And if you have ownership, then them dollars are going to keep on coming in to support you for all the great hard work you did when you were in your 20s and 30s or 40s or whatever. So, yeah, ownership is important. Because trust me, them houses in Beverly Hills and in nice places and stuff, those are a lot of people who had ownership of product. You know what I'm saying? They might not be in the record business no more or in the film business no more, but they own property or movie business. They own intellectual property and they're getting paid constantly. And that's why you see a man, 80-year-old man riding in a Bentley and a Rolls Royce or living in the hills because he took, you know, he still owns property from someone back in the days. So it's time for us as young artists or artists, especially Black artists, to start owning stuff. So you remember, it's not about the money today. It's about the money down the road. You're going to, hopefully, if you're blessed enough, you're going to be 50, 60, 70, 80, and you might not be as hot as you were back then. So why don't you, as you are now, why don't you take care of your future and your grandkids and your kids' future by owning stuff? And don't be afraid to say no. If more of us say no, you know what? I want to own something, man. If you're using me for this show, I want to own part of it. Or you can't have me. And if you have the clout, whatever, if we hear more, I promise you, bigger companies will start letting people own stuff. You got to have the balls to say it. A lot of times people are afraid because they feel like, oh, you're doing me a favor. Damn that. You're the talent. You're doing them a favor. When they call you up and they want you to put you in something, you're doing them a favor. They're not taking you because you garbage. They're taking you because they see talent in you. And you need to see strength inside yourself and say, hey, man, I need to own some of this, brother. If you're going to use my life and my talent for the next couple of years, I need to own some of this because one day I'm going to get 50 and 60 and 70 years old, and I want to still be eating healthy and living good at that time.
So, Pierre, would it be fair to say that Hollywood stole the Chappelle show all because of, a lucky first deal?
Of course. Welcome to show business. You know what I'm saying? Pimps are going to pimp. Pimps are going to pimp when they can pimp. Okay? You can't pimp when you can't pimp. If someone ain't gonna let you pimp them, they ain't gonna pimp them. But if you're, and like Chappelle said, he was 28. He had just had a newborn baby. You know what I'm saying? He was in a situation where he needed money. And okay, so he signed a deal that wasn't the greatest. You just say, so what, sucker? That's too bad. Really? And Comedy Central probably knew that. And all the people in that room knew that. It was him again. It was like a lamb versus wolves in that situation. You know what I'm saying? And his manager wants money, and his agent wants money. They don't really care about the client. You got to learn how to care and protect yourself because people around you ain't gonna do it all the time. Because they want money. You're the cash cow. So if they can get some money off of you, cool. They'll move on to the next talent. While you broke, if your career goes nowhere, that manager, that agent will pick up someone new and fresh. But you still have to live with yourself and continue to live. So, he got taken advantage of, and they were fine with that. So I'm glad he's making some noise and letting people know how the business is. It's time for that, man.
Absolutely, and I definitely applaud him. Like you said at the end, not everybody has the balls to do what he did in Unforgiving, putting out that information for the masses to see. So I do hope a lot of people learn from it, and as artists continue to grow and, put forth their talent, that they take advantage of that and they, that information that has been given. Pierre, I appreciate you giving a call in. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.